and welcome to my channel. My name is Morgan and today I'm going to show you how to make a great soup that is budget friendly and kid friendly, which we all know is very important. I have 8 children, 7 still live at home, and all 7 of them love this soup, and it's full of good things for you. It's a little under 75 cents per serving. I make enough of this soup to feed us 2 meals, lunch today and dinner today, or lunch today and lunch tomorrow or something like that. Either way, this soup has never gone to waste in the refrigerator. I'm going to put the recipe in the comments below and you can cut this meal down to be a smaller portion for your family. Let me show you what all is in it. A 5-pound bag of potatoes, 2 pounds of meat. Normally I would use this ground turkey, 2 pounds of this, but I had this Italian sausage, so I'm going to use it. These ground turkeys are really good and you can season them up to be super yummy. They're less than $2 at Walmart. I think they're like $1.88. So highly recommend this. The only ingredients are turkey and rosemary. So I'll take it. You can get this frozen kale for $1. They only had 1 bag of kale, so I'm using spinach as well. I'm gonna use 4 bags of this. If your kids aren't as huge of fans of spinach or kale, or you're not, maybe use only 2 bags. Then I'm gonna use 2 onions and an entire head of garlic. You do not have to use that much garlic, but we've been battling cold, so I'm just gonna go ahead and use it. I included the price of all of this in the price of figuring out how much this costs. I will be using homemade chicken broth that I made, but I am including in the price, like the bouillon cubes are only $1 to get chicken broth. You can get a whole box of those, and that makes 8 cups of chicken broth at Walmart. So if you need to make this even more budget friendly, you can get that. But for everything that you saw here, this meal is going to be less than 75 cents per serving. So the first thing I'm going to do is ground the meat and chop the potatoes. What the chicken broth that I'm going to add looks like. You can add water and bouillon, or you can just add water and add a few extra spices to make it a little more tasty. I just put my broth in the microwave for a little bit just to get it defrosted enough to get it out of the bag to put in the pan. I also put a quart of water in the pan to sort of make it all come together and defrost faster. And I'm going to let this cook for a little while until the broth gets a little defrosted, and then we'll add everything else and I'll show you what that looks like. So I added total about 7 quarts of liquid. I added 4 quarts of my homemade chicken broth, and then I added 3 quarts of water. My children really like the broth, so you can add less broth if you want to. My children really like the broth. You can add less broth if you want it to be more like a stew. Ours is more like a soup. So if you're adding bouillon, then you can just keep tasting it and see how it tastes and decide if you need more seasonings or not. If you use the ground turkey, you're definitely going to need to add a little bit more seasonings. If you use the ground sausage, it has a lot of flavors, so you don't have to add as many seasonings. The only thing I'm actually going to add to this is garlic powder and salt. I'm going to add about probably 3/4 of a tablespoon of salt. There's a lot of potatoes in here. And so those potatoes really need some salt to make them taste good. And then I'm going to add about a tablespoon of garlic. And then in about 45 minutes, I'm going to taste it, and then I'll readjust the seasoning to it. Is it good?